There is only one perfect solution, but there are clues that will try to trick our team.
Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Kill and welcome to Logic Wheel. So this is the way the module looks. During the initial state of this mod, there will be no numbers present on each of these 5 displays, but when we hit the regen button, we can hit this as many times as we want. 5 numbers will be displayed on each of these displays. Now, we'll get into what these arrows do for the submission bit later on, but what's going to be happening here is that 2 of the numbers, when converted to binary and applied to one of the 5 logic gates, will return a third number. So in this case, our 5 logic gates are going to be OR, AND, NOR, NAND, and XOR. So our goal is to determine which gate we're looking at here, while making sure that we avoid the other 2 numbers, which in this case, they are dummies. So, determine what the logic gate is and what the dummy numbers are. So in this case, we're trying to find the 3 numbers that are used for the equation in the logic bit, and what our dummy numbers are, because the dummy numbers are going to be representing what we're going to submit into the module. Because after determining what the logic gate is, press the submit button and submit the result of applying that logic gate to the 2 most recent dummy numbers. So this answer will always change when you do the regenerate button, but it will always be the most recent 2 numbers that were displayed when you hit submit into the module. And that's all there really is to this mod. It's fairly simple to understand, but it's a bit tricky to actually find and do for a little while. Now, one thing I will state in this tutorial, I will not be going over how binary works in this, because I have done binary several times in just a bunch of different tutorials, and at this point, if you're learning this during this time in the community, I would advise you learn something a little bit simpler. Because having both of these as a good knowledge will make this module significantly easier. I'm expecting that when you come into this tutorial, you do know how binary and logic works in some capacity. So without further ado, let's get right into this. And yeah, let's get right into this. So what we're going to essentially do here is I'm going to do about 3 regenerations, because the idea here is that the positions of each of these numbers and their binary representations are going to be consistent throughout the entire module. The first and second input will appear in the exact same displays, as well as their output. So that's what we're going to try and find here. So let's convert each of these guys into a 5-digit binary, because 5 digits is going to be the max that you're going to see on here. So in this case, we've got 00111 for 7. We have 01111 for 15. Yes. We've got 0111. We have, let me make sure, yeah, that's right. So we've got 11100, excuse me, and then a 1000. Okay, so that's our first set right here. I'm gonna mark it with a couple of dashes just to let us know where that ends. Let's regenerate. It gives us a whole series of new numbers. So let's take a look at what we're looking at here. Now, so now what we have here is we've got a 011, excuse me. Then we have a 10011. Then we've got a, or excuse me, that's for 19 rather. 00011. Then a 10011. Then a 00110. And then finally for 24, 16 and 8 we'll do it. 00. Okay, and then finally for our last generation, let's take a look. So regenerate is going to be 16, 5. 00101, 14 being 0, well, everything is at the last one, so 0, there we go, so 00011, 01, and then 30, everything is at the very last. Okay. Alright, so now, let's get rid of the modules here. Let's focus on just the notepad bit of this. And what we're going to try and do is we're going to take a look at each of these positions here, and we're going to try and find a consistent pattern if they were to apply for logic gates. So, generally what the best idea here is to cross off what possible logic gates can appear, because obviously trying to figure out which positions and having all 5 logic gates available makes this very difficult. Now, of course, we can try and find different avenues that we can go down on, but one thing that we want to take a look at here is some different possibilities. Now, we can take a look at maybe 0, 0, in this case, these first 2 positions, and the 5th being the last, if they were to be applied in the NOR gate, which could have some potential. In this case, 0, 0 being applied into 1. In this case, NOR, for those of you who do not know how logic gates work, or works as if it is exactly, or returns true, rather, if there is at least 1 that is true in the input sequence, and returns true if both are true, nor returns true if both are false. NAND returns true if at least one is false, and XOR returns true if exactly one is false. It can only be one. And that's the way how these logic gates work. So, in this case, both are returning false. This would work for the NOR gate. This would work for the NOR gate down here, and as you can see, the rest of these have at least one in each position, which makes them all return as 0, in this case false. So that could potentially work. Now let's see if it applies to the exact same cases in these other states. And immediately I can already see, no, this is not the case, because if we take a look here, in the second position, 1, 0 should not return as 1. This is just not the way how this works. So that is not going to work out for us, and in this case, this NOR gate does not apply to these specific sets. This path does not work. Okay. So let's think. Because there's a bunch of different possibilities, and one thing that I can actually immediately rule out now, is the possibility is there is no way that it can be a NOR gate, and the reason why I'm coming to this conclusion is if we take a look at the third position in the first set that we had here, what's going to happen is there's going to be a series of 1s that would be appearing here. Normally, this would be a lot of returning true. In this case, we need for NOR to return true, for there to be 0, 0. So there is not a possible case of 0, 0. So in this case, this is never going to return true. And the way that I'm concluding this is, obviously, there can be a case of 1, 1 being applied, and then this would be 0. Which actually could be definitely a possibility, but the likely position of that happening is not going to happen. It's never going to happen. If we can even take a look here. So it's kind of hard to describe this stuff. And you can even check the third condition here. If it were to be NOR, it just doesn't make sense. Unless, and it actually can't make sense at all because of the fact that if you take a look at the outputs, if they're not in the same position. If they were in the same position, it would be a much different story. However, in this case, NOR is never going to be possible here because there's no way for it to return 1 in any other output. You can't have 1 here, and you can't have 0 here when all the inputs are 1, and you can't have 0 in the first position when all of the inputs are 1. It just doesn't make sense, and it doesn't add up. So therefore, we can eliminate NOR as a possible gate. So I'm going to write down all the gates that are possible here: OR, AND, NAND, and XNOR rather. And the reason why the other gates are used, XNOR, I'm not sure why it isn't used, but for the implications left and right, this specifically requires input, like the input order. In this case, that's going to be why it's not included in this, because we don't know exactly what order these are going to go into. However, we do know that 2 gates are being used. So that's why we're never going to see implications in this. This is why this was not designed with these. And also because 6 logic gates is probably weird. So, and at this point, you kind of just start just going with it. There really is not much else to say about this. I don't know really what else to tell you, because it is a lot of brute force in this. So let's take a look and let's see if we can cross off any possibilities of gates, for example, because that's really kind of how you're going to do this. And let's take a look. It might be an OR case for all we know. We can try and do positions and outputs, and see if they return true. Which I can already see that this does not work for OR. I was thinking that it would, but it does not. One thing I'm seeing is that there's a lot of 1s grouped together, and that's a bit interesting. Returning 0, 0, return as 1. No, that doesn't make sense. Okay. The hardest part about this tutorial is trying to find clues with it. But if you can try to eliminate logic gates as quick as possible, that's going to be really good. I feel like there's a much faster way, and I know Quinn is going to be screaming at me about this. But it's a very difficult mod to just look at and try and figure out. It's very tricky. Now it's not an AND case for 3, 4, and 5 because this would have to return 1. maybe 3 and 5 returning as true could be a NAND case. It could. Let's try it. Let's see if that works. So 3 and 5 returning as a NAND case. No, it immediately doesn't work. So no. I figured that one would definitely be a stretch considering how many zeros are in this section. So let's take a look at the other two groups that we have here, and let's see if we can cross off any options for it to return true. Now, another thing that immediately catches my eye. 0, 0 returns as 0. I don't think NAND's a possible option because of the fact that, or it forces this being the output if it were to be NAND, which we can try and do it, but it's probably not going to work. Maybe we do 3, 5, and 4 with NAND? No, that won't work. Yeah, this one's very particular. Wait, another thing that you can actually do here is you can, I think you have to, you can't cross off XOR, but if it were to be XOR gate, it would kind of force it to be at least gate 5 word input, because of the fact that all of the other options would return as true. So if it were to be an XOR gate, it would be very specific. So let's take a look and let's see if there's any possibilities that we can do with that. Otherwise, it's safe to say that XOR is out of the picture here, because this case forces you to have to return to have a 0 and a 1 in order for it to return as 1. In this case, all of the other 1s would return as 0. That's not what I meant to do. So if you were to have 1, 1 and it would return as 0, that would work. However, if you would have 0, 1, and it might also account for this little bit down here too. If we were to maybe do gates 1 and 5 and some sort of output here, that might work. I'm not quite sure. But let's take a look. So 0, 1 would return as a 1. 0, 0 would return as a 0. 1, 0 would return as a 1. 1, 0 would return as a 1. 1, 0 would return as a 1. We might be onto something actually here. Hold on. Okay, so in this case, if we were to apply the XOR gate to positions 5 and 1, and the output was 3, this would actually return true in every single case. Let's see if this returns true for each of the other ones. So 5 and 1, and position 3 being the output. So in this case, 1, 0 returns 1, 1, 1 returns as 0 because we need it to be exactly 1, 0, 0 returns as 0, 1, 0 returns as 0, 1, 0 returns, 1, 0 returns as 1, and 1, 0 returns as 1. Now let's see if this holds that consistent up in the third bit. In this case, 1, 1 returns as 0, 0, 1 returns as 1, 0, 1 returns as 1, 0, 1 returns as 1, and 0, 0 does indeed return as 0. We have found our gate, and in this case, our gate is XOR, and we know for a fact that our 2 dummy positions, which is what we're going to be paying attention to here, is in the 2nd and 4th position. So in this case, the 5 and 13 is where we're going to be XORing, and we're going to be submitting this result into the module. So in this case, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, and 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. We're going to XOR these gates. In this case, this will return true if exactly 1 is returning true, which in this case will be returning as this little bit, because we have 2 zeros for the 0. 0, 1 is indeed true. So that's going to return as 1. 1, 1 is going to return as 0. 0, 0 going to return as 0. 1, 1 going to return as 0 for the XOR gate. So in this case, let's hit our submit. And now what we have here is we have this set up to set up all zeros, and you can toggle each of the arrows with 1. You can obviously toggle them back and forth, no problemo. And in this case, we're going to submit 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. Apologies for explaining that really poorly. So it can be a bit tricky to find out what you're actually looking for here, but I was able to use kind of clues, and I figured that maybe we can use this long pattern of 1s to my advantage, because that was very clear. That was very interesting to note down, and the fact that we were able to get rid of NOR easily was kind of what helped me there. So let's take a look at one more example, and apologies for taking so long and explaining that. I'm not quite proud of that explanation, but hopefully that makes sense to you guys, and it's just kind of looking out for clues. You can kind of go all over the place with how you want to do this. As far as I'm aware, there's no real strats to it. You kind of just look for it and you see if there's any patterns that you can find. I'm not the biggest person who does binary in their head. It's kind of just weird with me. I kind of work with it, but yeah, that's really all there is to it. So let's take a look at one more example here.
There is only one perfect solution,
All right,
but there
regenerate.
are clues that will try to trick our team.
So we've got 0, 1, 0, 2, not 0, 2. 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. We've got 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, excuse me, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. Yep, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, this is definitely going to be a bit interesting. So let's take a look at this guy, and let's see what we can figure out. So let's go to the next regeneration. Lots of low numbers this time around, with occasionally high numbers, but I digress. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. 26 being 1, 1, 0, 1, 0. Yep. 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and 0, 1, 1, 1. For our last generation, let's take a look. So we've got a 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0. If I can type that right, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, and 18 being 16 and 2. All right, let's take a look. Let's see if we can find any additional patterns that we can see here, and let's see what we can do. Alrighty. One of the things that's immediately catching my eye. If we were to maybe apply gates either 1 and 3, or perhaps 3 and 5, or perhaps 1 and 5 with the NOR gate, maybe we can get something with that. Because as you can see here, 0, 0 is the only case where this returns as 1, and this actually doesn't happen anywhere else. And this would work for this case, because 1, 1 returns as 0, 1, 0 returns as 0, 0, 1 returns as 0, 1, 0 returns as 0. So in this case, let's try this, and let's see if we can get anything from this. So, immediately, no, we cannot. So this is not going to be the case. So maybe let's try 1 and 5. Because it works with every single other case here. So let's try BB 1 and 5. We replace it with 3. 0, 0 does not return as that. So in this case, that's not going to work either. And NOR is not going to work with this case at all. Okay. So we can just get rid of that and out of the picture here. And I don't think NOR actually works anywhere else, to be completely honest. I don't really see any other places because this is going to produce inconsistency somewhere along the lines. Maybe it isn't. No, it's going to produce inconsistencies. This one's a very interesting position to be in. Okay. And there's nothing I can immediately cross out either. That's the oh, wait a minute, there is. Hold on. Okay. So, taking a look at this bottom section here, immediately one of the things that we can immediately cross out is all of these are zeros. So, any case of 0, 0 going in is going to result in a 0. So, in this case, this is going to limit us to OR and it's also and XOR. Because we know for a fact that either NOR or NAND, if either of them have 0, 0 go in, it would be equal to 1. It would be equal to true. So in this case, that gets rid of both the NOR and the NAND gates. That's huge. That is really big clues that you want to look for. They are not necessarily guaranteed to happen, but we know for a fact that we're going to be looking for true cases. We're going to be looking for cases where it's OR and XOR. So that's going to be very helpful for us, I would think. So let's take a look and let's see what we can do to help our case here. Because now what we're going to try and figure out is what can work with us. Maybe if we were to try like the 1, 3, 5 case again with one of these operators, that might work for us. Let's see. So let's do 1, 3 going into 5. In the OR case, this would work perfectly fine because there's at least one here, there's at least one here, there's at least one here, and there's at least one here. Both positions have zeros, which therefore returns 0. 1 and 3 going into 5. The OR case 0, 0, 0. 0, 1 would return as 1. Yep, 1 would return as 1. 1 would return as 1, and 1 would return as 1. Okay, let's try it again. 1, 3, and 5. 0, 1 returns as 1. 0, 0 returns as 0. 0, 0 returns as 0. 1 returns as 1. And 0, 0 returns as 0. I think we found our case. So in this case, we have determined that positions 1, 3, and 5, which happens to be quite funny because these are the exact same things that we got from beforehand, do indeed give us the OR case that we're looking for. Now, I want to make sure, just to be safe, let's regenerate it one more time. I want to make sure that this is indeed returning as exactly what we would expect it to be. Could be coincidence, I'm not quite sure. So 16, 0, there's no 8, there is no 4, there's 3. Yep, I'm going to just do the first, third, and fifth position. So now we're looking at 24. So 16, 8, 0, 0, 0. And then 27 being 16, 8, 0, 1, 1, which in this case makes sense. Yes, it does indeed. So in this case, this is exactly what we're looking at. We're looking at an OR gate here. And now what we're able to do here is simply take the other two numbers, in this case 28 and 22, and apply them with the OR gate. So let's do, so for 28, it is 1, 1, 16, 8, so 24, then 1, 0, 0. And then for 22, it is 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. There we go. So then if we were to apply the OR gate, there at least has to be 1, 1 in any of these positions. So in this case, that's going to give us 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. Submit. This should be correct. 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. And just like that, we're good to go. Sweet rave party. And just like that is a solved module. And that's all there really is to it. That's all there really is to it. It is just a lot of looking around, finding those clues, being able to eliminate those being able to eliminate NAND and X and NOR rather, were very, very helpful. They were definitely able to help me out figure out what to deduce the amount of logic gates present in there, and kind of it was just applying stuff and see if it works. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.